Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to another top 10. This is going to be a little bit different. So, I've been playing Empires and Puzzles for, a few years now, and, I've noticed how the game changed, some for the better, some for the worse, but there are some things that, in my opinion, will improve the game. And just a little disclaimer, it's not gonna be make the portals cheaper, go from 2600 or 3000 or whatever to 1000 gem or 500 gems for 10 pulls. That's we all know that's not gonna happen. It's not, nothing like, well, give us more gems on missions. That's not gonna happen. These are more um, feasible. And by no means, this is not a pitch to SG, um, begging them, because I honestly don't care if they make these changes or not. This is just, to me, it's thought provoking it because, I always like to think about stuff and think how I can improve stuff. And, this is going to be more of a fun video. So, if you like this content, leave a like, subscribe, and most important, tell me some of the ideas after you see some of the suggestions that I have. Leave me with some more ideas. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. So let's just dive into it. So number 10, I have leveling heroes. So when you level a hero, it's a pain in the ass. Now, I only have 9 available slots, but there are times when I had like 20 or 30. And when you level a hero, you have to press on every hero to include them. Now, they have this button where it auto selects only the color that you want, but they don't have a button where you can select all of them at once instead of like pressing on every one of them. So I wish this was one of the things that are built into the game, so it can save you a lot of time and save you from getting arthritis from all that pressing. And speaking of that topic, along the same realm comes into this, where you have 99 plus and you have to press for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. There should be a button where you just can press something that or they have an additional button where you can add them all at once instead of adding them one by one like that. So that's a technical thing and a small thing, but it really makes a big difference and it saves you a lot of time. So uh, that's my suggestion for number 10. So number 9, I have Faded Summons. So, in Faded Summons, you have to summon 100 heroes to get one Faded Summon. And honestly, the heroes that they feature, they're pretty much outdated. Almost all of them are outdated. So one of the suggestions would be those heroes that are here, include the costume with them. Like, why do I have to take the basic hero? And if I don't have the costume, like, what am I going to use it for? I understand maybe the lower level, and maybe that's why it's released. But in all honesty, the free to play or the cheap to play, I mean, they're not gonna summon Faded Summon. Like, in order for them, especially the free to play, in order for them to get 100 summon, it'll take them almost 5 or 6 months to get one hero only, out of all of these. But even with that, I mean, you should allow for these costumes to be included with these, which I know some might think is unreasonable, but that's the least they can do, honestly, with these. So that's for number 9. Speaking of dreaded things, War of Three Kingdoms. And oh my god, War of Three Kingdoms. Now, I can make a whole separate videos about events and how they can be improved. But since we have War of Three Kingdoms coming up, I just wanted to talk about one thing. And trust me, I understand there are a lot of things that can be improved on War of Three Kingdoms, but the most frustrating part about it is people not using their fucking flags. Like that triggers me so much. How, tell me, how is it possible that since the start of War of Three Kingdoms, I'm always on the side of team that does not use their flags? Like, it's not even possible how unlucky I get. Every time it's the same thing. I'm on the team that doesn't use their flag. We lose by virtue of not using flag. Like 100 flags not used on our team when they have like 100 more flags, and you can see the top spots are always from our team. But because they used more flags, they win. So it becomes a war of more used flags more than skill or better teams or whatever you call it. So there are simple solutions, there are extreme solutions. So, I'm sure there are more solutions to that, but, the simplest thing is instead of getting um, absolute BS pop up of every offer you have, whenever you open up the game, they shove it down your throat so you can buy one of them. Make one of the pop-ups War of Three Kingdoms. To me, it happened where I forgot to use war flags and War of Three Kingdoms, and then someone would remind me from the alliance or from whatever, and then I use them because they're hidden. When you log in, there's no, at least when you have war. At the bottom where it's alliance here, you see a sword or a double sword. There are flags to be used, but in War of Three Kingdoms, you don't see anything. And even if you log into the event and it's on the left side, you don't see that. You see the sign, but there's nothing that tells you that or triggers your mind that you have flags to use. So, if they have something that pops up when you open up the game that says, you have such and such flags to use, I think more people are going to use their flags. Other solution would be, pay 25 gems to participate. I'm not talking about 500 gems. Even free to play can do 25 gems. And those 25 gems will be given back to you if you use all your flags. And then the more extreme one would be to ban those who don't use their flags on the next war. So they are not able to participate to the next War of Three Kingdoms, but they can participate in the one after that. So these are simple solutions. I'm sure there are better solutions there, but these are at least solutions. And let me just say one thing: the thing they did where your attack power increases with every attack does absolutely nothing. I don't think they understand the problem with War of Three Kingdoms, and that just doesn't fix it. So these are simple things that I can think about War of Three Kingdoms. All right, so at number 7, I have something about war, and just as a heads up, I have a few of the rankings ahead about war, just because it's the most fun thing in the game. And honestly, if war didn't exist, I'm betting a lot of people would have quit the game already. But I digress. Anyway, this is about replays. So I always wanted to see the matches played against me, where people attack my defense team, and I want to see the match because that could improve my defense, and I see where things went wrong, or whether it's just the enemy got lucky and got the tiles, or is there anything wrong with my defense that needs to be improved. The other thing is, I want to see some of my alliance members attacks on the enemy, and I understand like some people record their attacks, some people don't, and I just want to see some of the matches live. And I understand like people would have reservation about this because they think that allows room for cheating, which my counter to this is if people wanted to cheat, they're going to cheat, and people already, some of them are cheating where they do like group calls, and they would stream hits. So there are cheating going on in the game if people wanted to, but they could do something like a 30 or 40 second delay on those matches, and that could prevent that. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of the other problem whether they want to overload, those matches or these all these replay would overload the servers. Like, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. But that's always something that I wanted in this game. Okay, at number six is still about war. One thing about war is war types. So we're playing Arrow, Barrage, and I think one of the things that I don't like about war is how disadvantageous is it to the attacker. So some of the war types can be equally advantageous, such as Equalizer or Minion Wars or Rush War. These are, as much as people hate Rush War, at least it's equally advantageous. But when you're talking about Attack Up or Aero Barrage, they're advantageous to the defensive team, not the attacking team. Especially when you have Attack Up where it's not dispellable. That's just, BS in my opinion. What they can do is either make it so that each side gets those buffs or debuffs where, each side gets the arrows, or the attack up is to both sides, or they can change war types. So, instead of arrow war and attack up, they would replace it with buff booster and bloody battle. I think that's people would like that more, and that would allow more variety in defensive teams, and which spice up the game more. Number five, hero release and power creep. Oh yeah, we're going there. You know, um, the hero release has become so insane that not only you can't keep up, it's leading to them releasing heroes like this one. And kudos to people who got him. But in my opinion, he's a bad hero. Like, he's a crappy hero for the heroes that's being released now. That's the problem with releasing too many heroes. You release some crappy heroes. That's one part of it, and the other part of it is power creep. So, in order for them to get people to pull, they release better and better and better heroes. So they have to put them with better stats, better specials. So the older heroes become power crept pretty easily. And the example I use and always use is Mistweaver and Stain Tongue, where they got released 1 month apart. And one of them, which is Mistweaver, just power crept Stain Tongue in 1 month. Um, so that's a big thing. And the other thing is the costumes, where they have second and third costume. What's next? Fourth costumes? Like, that's just insane. I mean, I get it. I mean, they want people to pull, but just either produce quality heroes or slow down the release of heroes. Like, it just gets it to a point where you can't use the heroes they release unless you summon them right away and use them for the next couple of months before they get power crept and become more useless. And yeah, that applies more to the higher level of play, but and some people say, well, you should stop pulling. And that might be true, but other people are going to keep pulling. And you might not want to be chasing everything, which is reasonable. I think the better thing is to have more quality and diverse heroes rather than release crappy heroes like this, that really doesn't serve you any good. It just destroys the quality of the game. So that's just my opinion. I know some people are going to disagree with that, but that's what I have. Since we're speaking about summoning, here's a big problem that I face and a lot of people face, especially even free-to-play players who, collect gems or collect a lot of, tokens or whatever over a long period of time, and then they start summoning. And, you're looking to get Archie or Jasper, even, Master Lipus or the other ones. And, after you do, 10 summons, you get very lucky and you get this useless unused hero, Elkinen, or, the outdated Richard. So, this is one of the biggest problem about summoning is they pick and choose some of the portals where they have season ones and the other ones they don't have season ones. So ban all season one heroes. Like they have their own portal here. Like why do you include them on these, better portals? Like that's infuriating when you pull these season one heroes and it just doesn't serve this game any purpose. Um, so that's one big thing that I have. And if you want to include them, you should include their costumes. That's at least a fair trade. But I know this game is not about being fair, especially when it comes to these summoning. So that's it about summoning. Okay, this is going to be the last point about summoning, I promise. And that is multiple summoning. So I think, if you summon a certain amount, they should give you a guaranteed 5 star, whether featured or non-featured. Definitely not Quintus, not one of those season ones. It should be from um, one of these featured or non-featured of this specific portal. So let's say if you summon 100, then you get a guaranteed 5 star, regardless of how many 5 stars you pull in that 100 summons. Um, it just makes people less frustrated, and at the same time, I don't know, it can make people pull for more if they know that they're gonna get a guaranteed 5 star in 100 pulls. So who knows? So that's my suggestion for a third place. So at number two, that's a big one for me, and I think for a lot of people, which is nerfs. So, I know that some heroes might be released and they're overpowered, and I think for a lot of heroes that were released and nerfed, they were told in beta that they're going to be overpowered, and still they got released, and they got nerfed later on, and some of the heroes might not have been expected to be overpowered, and they turned out to be overpowered when used in combination with other heroes, which I understand. But if that happens, the players who spent real money to obtain those heroes are sold a different product, like the product changed on them. So they should be at least compensated. And there are multiple ways you can compensate, from easier to a more extreme compensation. So the easiest thing you can do is return those limit broken materials and the heroes that were used to level up those heroes. So they can release a token where you can level up a hero from 1 to 485 or 80, 480 I should say, and they would return the limit broken limit break materials so that you can level up another hero. You can't return the hero. I understand that. The more extreme one would be, if you have a hero that's nerfed from that portal, you can return that hero and choose another hero from the same portal. I know this is, far-fetched, but I think the easier one is to return those materials so you can put in another hero. Like Eminem, limit broken, nerfed to oblivion, and no one uses Eminem now. And it's just sitting there with wasted material that, you spend months collecting. So, I think this is not unreasonable to ask for, but, it is what it is. We'll see if something changes, but I have little hope for this one. But number one, it's something about war again. And I was contemplating whether I should say this one or not because it might trigger a lot of people. And honestly, I'm going to say it anyway because I think this would be a good change for the game. and that is tanks. So in top alliances, and honestly, even mid alliances, the most prevalent tanks at the time being is either yellow or purples. And I understand, there are meta changes that changes the color, such as when Eminem was the blue, and everyone was using blue at that time. But I'd like to see some changes that are consistent, more than changes that stay for a while and then they change it based on nerfing heroes or heroes that come up that are better. Um, so once you get to the top alliances, especially like the top 10 or even top 20, you'll see the same tanks. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there are some of them that are different, but you'll see the most common ones. Like yellow tanks, you'll see all the Joves, Ans, Erlingchen, and Queen. Like, these are the standard tanks. And you'll see it in top alliances. And, in the top three or top four, you'll see it almost across all team members. So, there might be some minor changes here and there, but for the most part, you're going to be fighting the same thing over and over again because these top 10 alliances, 20 alliances, they, fight against each other all the time. But my idea would be if they would ban a tank color every war. So you have two era wars. The first era wars, they would ban um, red tanks. So you can't put in a red tank. You can put in any other color, or they would ban like a yellow tank. So you can put in any other color other than yellow, or they would make it so that you can put in only one color tank, meaning this is going to be a red tank war. So you have to put in a red tank, and you'll see a lot of people putting in red tanks. Um, and that would change with every war. So you have two air wars. The first one would be only red tanks, and the second war would be only blue tanks. And you would see a lot of variety, and I think the game would be more fun. And at the same time, the thing about it is a lot of different alliance members have different teams and different colors which they're good at. So some members might have good purple teams, and some members might have good yellow teams, and some members might have good green teams. So if you change the tan color, that would make everyone shine at some point, rather than making the one who has the top color in one kind, make them the best. So that would motivate people more, and honestly, it breaks the routine. So I think, in my opinion, that would be the most significant change in Empires and Puzzles, and it would shake up the game a lot, and would make people less of a monkey see, monkey do, and more of more creative, so to say. And it's fun when you go against teams that you're not gonna know what their defenses are gonna be. It just breaks the routine. So I think these are the top 10 things that would change. Obviously there are things that these are just things that I came up with, on the fly. I'm sure there are a lot of things that would improve the game. I am curious to hear everyone's opinions about the suggestions I made, and if they have suggestions of their own. I mean, everyone has their own experience and things that they think that would improve the game. Um, Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.